In the last video, we made the leg of the mobile traffic light design. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to add some convincing details to enhance this model in the final presentation. The details we're going to look at initially are the foot of the leg and some little hinge details up here and on the back face as well. In order to do that first, what we're going to do is we're just going to hide the bottom element. So we've just left clicked on that and we're just going to hide that using the light bulb on the main toolbar. Now, in an office situation, to get these details, there's a number of ways that we can do that. We can build it from first principles, so we may have done a number of sketches, or we could have built a prototype, or perhaps we're working for a manufacturer which already has a number of proprietary items that may be just suitable for this situation. So one of the things that we're going to explore during this session is we're going to use the revolve command in order to build it from first principles. And we're also going to learn how to import models into our project under construction such that we can take details that we've already fabricated and conveniently place them as we require. So to begin with, what we're going to look at is the foot detail. So if you go to the supplementary files and open the foot sample JPEG, you'll have an idea of what it is that we'll be building in this particular case. So to begin with, I'll just drag that across to one side. If you can, right click on the lower section of the interface where your layer manager is, and you'll bring that up. And in this file, 05 begin, you'll notice that I've supplied the ConB layer as well. So if you could press the light bulb, left click on that to bring that up, you'll see a number of blue lines appear. So in order to facilitate the process on this occasion, double click on perspective. You'll notice we've done a little bit of a time saving exercise. Rather than having you input the precise details of that as a measured approach, I've already pre-done it for us. Typically in an office situation, what you would be doing is either taking dimensions off a sketch or alternatively measuring the prototype that you've got in the office in order to make the three-dimensional geometry here. So what I have in this particular occasion is we have the component parts broken up into a cross-section. Okay, now let's turn the layer manager off. We're going to bring ourselves down to ConB first. So move the tick by left clicking on the current line and making that the active one. You'll see in the lower section of the interface, ConB is now active. And we can turn off the ConA layer. Excellent. Now, what we'll be assuming in this particular case, given the fact that we already have the profile line in place, is that you could work around that image using the polyline command that we've worked with before in order to produce the leg. Simply left click on that and you could simply click on the various elements or key in the specific dimensions in order to come up with that profile line. However, in this case, it's already prepared, so we can save ourselves a little bit of time and we can focus on a new command in order to produce new skills. So this time, simply left click on the profile line. You can see it highlighted there in the perspective view. And the command that we're going to look at on this occasion is under surface and we want revolve. Okay, now all we need to do is it's asking for us to indicate the start of the revolve axis. So we're going to click on the endpoint and simply with ortho clicked on, we're simply going to drag straight up the page on the right view. There we go. Now, start angle has been requested. If you look on the command line, then we right click and its default setting is 360 degrees. Right click again and you'll notice on the perspective view, we now have the foot of our supporting leg. Let's repeat that procedure now. So we're going to use the little bracket up above that. So we're going to highlight it. Now, instead of having to go back down to the command and roll down to revolve, we can simply right click on the command line and you will notice that we can scroll down and we can see the previous commands we've used. In this particular case, we can just click the one at the top and it's going to bring up the same command sequence as before. we can click point, scroll up because ortho is already on, left click, it's asking for the start angle, right click, it's asking us for the end angle, and again we can now see that we've got the little supporting bracket that the foot is on. Last one as a repeat, so a lot of these skills, once you've got them once, you can get quicker and quicker with it, but we're going to do the top of the bracket this time. So we highlight it by left-clicking it. This time, rather than going to the command bar and right-clicking, because we already used that command revolve just before, we can be on any viewport and simply right-click, and by default, it will come up with the last command we've used. So you can see on the command bar, it said start of revolve axis, so we can click end. Ortho is on, so all we need to do is drag directly up the page, left click again, then start angle, right click, and if you look on the perspective viewport, I'll double click so it can clearly be seen, we've got the top bracket now. So I'm just going to click on Con A, so I've right clicked on the layer manager, I'll open that up, turn it off, and you can now see we've got the makings of the foot, the supporting bracket that will be holding the rubber base, and the top bracket as well. And that would have been fabricated to match a detail that you've already sourced, either as a prototype you've made in the office, or online, or a proprietary item. Now let's use that one more time just to reinforce the skill. You'll notice at the back there, we've got the supporting ring that will hold the leg. So I'm just going to double click on perspective to bring the 4 viewports up. I'm just going to turn off Con Layer A, so right click on the command bar to bring up the layer manager, turn off the light bulb on Con Layer A, and this time I'm just going to bring up show, there we go. This time what we're going to do is we're going to get the revolve command working. So right click on the command bar, scroll down to revolve, and this time we need to make sure that we're on 0, 0, 0. So start at a revolve axis, we're just zooming in on the top view. You can see the cursors there, the green line and the red line, that's our datum point. We're just simply left clicking and then dragging up the page on the right hand side view, so you can see where my hand, the little hand is on the screen, and left click, right click again, and again what we've got is the supporting structure. So this is just the same command each time. We've taken our construction line and used the surface revolve command in order to produce those components. Okay. Now that illustrates the way that we would build component parts for our design from first principles. So in this particular case, we would have to put in all of the construction lines that you saw before and then apply the revolve command accordingly. There is another way and quicker way and more efficient way that we would also approach this problem. We may have done this detail on a previous project and we might want to import that into the project. So there are a number of ways we can do this, but the one that we're going to use for this lesson is we're going to just simply import the details. So we may have found the source file that was suitable for the hinge mechanisms, and we're going to bring that into this model. So what we're going to do is simply go File, Import, and the one that we're going to go with, which will be in your project files, is Import A pin connection. So I'll just bring that down so you can see it. Import A pin connection and open, and you can see it's automatically placed there in the frame, and if we click on the layer menu, it will import keeping the layer structure that it was on. So those little component parts that you can see there that are in black, they need to be repositioned slightly, but they're on Con Layer D. Now, what we've done in this lesson is we've built up a few additional details to our design, and we've introduced both the import command and the surface modeling tool Revolve. In our next lesson, we're going to build the detail of the design still further.